Hello all and welcome back. It's Team Week Tuesday for me, it's a Wednesday for you, and that means it is time for my NRL predictions. I'll go through my round 23 predictions of this year's Indigenous round, which goes over 2 weeks, round 23 and 24. So because of that, the NRL website have had, tribe, don't know the exact word, but the tribe, I'm just going to call that, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, underneath all the teams. So I'm going to kind of mention them or add them into this, because it is Indigenous round. With that said, let's get into the predicting. It kicks off between the Broncos and the Storm at Amy Park in Melbourne, the home of the Wundariji people. I mess these a lot up, but I'm trying my best. So the Storm here, coming off a good win against the Eels last week, which was close, but decent. And the Broncos coming off losing to the Eels 2 weeks ago, then beating the South by 60 points last week. Now, what's going to happen for them? I'm going with the Storm here. It's more of a safer option. I'm going with Storm by less than 12. I don't think there will be a dominant Storm win, because they obviously weren't super dominant last week. But with the Eels on that rising up, you can kind of understand why. If Pappenhausen is kicking and just overall performing by players is much better, they could dominate the game. But I think there'll still be stuff to improve, but they'll be able to get that win. I don't think the Broncos are at a good enough level, but they did destroy the Souths last week. But with the Souths, you don't know too much about them. Next, you go on to the Knights and the Panthers at McDonald Jones Stadium, home of the Awabakal people. I'm going with the Panthers here. It's such an obvious choice, and that's really it. I don't expect anything else except dominant performance by the Panthers here. The Knights are just not good enough, and their season's already done anyway. Next game between the Raiders and Manly Seagulls at GIO Stadium in Canberra, home of the Ngunnawal Wild people. I'm sorry, I told you I'm not good at pronouncing this. But anyway, I do think the Raiders will win this. They're coming off a loss against the Dragons last week. They haven't been very good the last couple of weeks. The scoreline shows different, but they're always behind at half time. And then it was last week where they weren't even able to come back in that second half, and they ended up losing. But anyway, I'm sure stuff will change, and I think they'll have a dominant weekend here. But Manly obviously will be playing a lot because they want to make sure they're making the 8. I have a feeling they're probably not going to make it. So, Raiders, more than 12. Then we go on to this first Saturday game between the Dragons and the Sharks at Jubilee Stadium, Sydney, home of the Bigajaragal and the Bedagal peoples. So I'm going with the Dragons here. They come in for a good win against the Raiders. Obviously, coach will be motivated to go out there and just perform their best. They can't make the 8, but just perform, and use that team, because it's a good team they've got. Yeah, I'm going with the Dragons here. The Sharks could obviously win. They've been really good, and it's probably the shocking choice by going with the Dragons, to be honest. The Sharks are really good. They normally dominate, and they could definitely do that as well. But Dragons less than 12. Then we go to the next Saturday game between the Dolphins and the Roosters at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, home of the Yugara and the Turrbal peoples. I'm going with the Roosters here. This is a big battle for 8th position. Winner will probably make the 8 this year, and I'm going with the Roosters here. I think, unfortunately for the Dolphins, it will be another upset type of year where they won't be able to make the 8, but it's kind of that curse, because they've yet to make the 8, and I have a feeling it's going to be taken away from them at the end. Tedesco is going to go, he's going to dominate, and they're going to win. So, Roosters by more than 12. We're going to the final game of Saturday now between the Bulldogs and the Warriors at Accor Stadium in Sydney, home of the Boromatical and the Wanagal peoples. I'm going with the Warriors here. Warriors and the Bulldogs both haven't been so good at more end of the season. Bulldogs dropping from basically undefeated in first to then losing a bunch of games and not been performing well. Well, not every weekend, but there's a lot of weekends like that, especially with the Tigers as the most recent example. And then it's the same with the Warriors with the Titans, probably their most recent example as well. So, I don't know what to expect, but I'm going with the Warriors here to shock the Bulldogs by less than 12. We go into the first Sunday game and the second final game, the Titans and the Rabbitohs. Originally I was thinking easy, even though the Rabbitohs are lost, I'm still going for the Rabbitohs here. By the way, CBS, the Super Stadium Gold Coast, home of the Yuga Banu Bar people. Completely messed up. Anyway, but the Rabbitohs originally I thought, yeah, they're now in 17th, but I think they'll still win it. Now I'm thinking, no way, they're not winning it. After their performance against the Broncos last week, and the Titans' really good performance against Penrith, where they got robbed, I believe they did. I think they should have won that game. Even if that wasn't robbery, they had a great performance anyway, and I think they'll be able to win by more than 12. The Rabbitohs, I'm sorry, but you look like you're getting the wooden spoon. We go on to the final game of Sunday between my Parramatta Eels and the Cowboys. 15 vs 30. Obviously, Eels win this game, move up a bit. Tigers have that bye, who are right ahead of them anyway. So, yeah, but I'm going with the Eels here because, well, I don't know. I get that, even the betting odds are on with the Eels. I guess we just have played much better the last couple of weeks. When we have all our players, we look kind of undefeatable, and we know how the Cowboys are when they are not at Townsville. By the way, Comac Stadium, Sydney, home of the grammatical people. But yeah, I'm going with the Eels by more than 12 here. Going to it as normal, so I'm hoping that happens. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video, and let's see if my prediction will be right, because I never know, I never check them anyway. But I am planning to eventually check them in LTW every week. So, for then, see you guys next time. Goodbye.